Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Reel Debaters podcast. I am Michael Petrow. Hello, listener. This week on the show, we're back at it. We took a little bit of a break getting ready for our first trivia night, which before I get into the whole episode thing, I just would like to thank Cal and everybody at Little Brown Jug for saying, hey, you want to do this here? And we're like, yeah, sure. We've never done it before. Let's try it. But thank you for being such a great venue and such great hosts. We did our first trivia night last Thursday at Little Brown Jug, and it was a blast. We sold it out. Like 65 of you showed up. That's amazing. Thank you for that. Thank you for putting up with the inaugural Reel Debaters trivia night that may be traveling around town in a Winnipeg near you in the near future. And we learned some things. We figured out what not to do. We figured out what you liked. We remembered to give you answer sheets for the third round, so yay for us. But seriously, thank you for just taking a shot on a local podcast, big group of silly people who like to talk about movies in a fun and odd and weird way, and showing up and giving us a chance. And in doing so, we hope that you tune into the show, because that whole thing was for you. That the whole thing was for you to pay attention. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't. It was just to have a good time. But if it did entice you to maybe subscribe to the show, that would be awesome. Either way, thank you from the bottom of our hearts here. Your team names were great. We talk a little bit more about it at the end of the show. I forgot to bring it up at the beginning, but I didn't forget to do it at all. So that's why I'm saying it here. So again, thank you, Cal. Thank you, Cast, who do this, every single one of you. Charles, Emily, Mark, Rob, Ian, me, and Martin, who it was like left 2 days before we did it. Like, he was in town. We just couldn't keep him here any longer. He almost was there. All 8 of us would have been in the room for the first time had that happened. Little fact of the Reel Debaters. But yeah, thank you to you guys for figuring out what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Mostly Charles made the presentation for you guys. The audio's on me, how it jumped up and down. It was quiet and then loud and quiet and loud. That is not on Charles. So Charles gets a big 100% for putting all that together at the very last, like, just for me. He's like, I'll do it. And I was like, man, you're awesome. So Charles gets a big golden reel for putting that trivia presentation together. And all the things we heard from you guys, we will tweak for the next show, which if you want to find out when that is, you're going to have to subscribe to the show. On to the show, for that matter. What do we got this week? We got Real Talk session featuring me, Emily Clark, and Dan Bond, Emily's husband. You've heard him on the show before. Lovely English accent that man has. Just adds to the whole flavor of the room when he talks. What are we talking about? We're talking about sequels, and now there's a fucking ton of them these days. And we're also talking about, we're chewing apart somebody else's list of controversial films that couldn't be remade today. And we were surprised at some of the things we found out about each other, and also found out about what could or maybe could not be made in the world of the Reel Debaters. So you got sequels. Are there too many? Some of our favorites. We review a list of some of the best ever, should they be on it by our standards. And then review a bunch of fun things. There's some Disney. There's some Netflix. There's always some Star Trek with Dan. And so one more time, thank you to Little Brown Jug and to all of you guys who showed up. That was awesome. We hope to see you at the next one. And we're going to do a lot more of these now that we kind of have a grounding of where it should all be. Besides that, if you're new to the show, or if you want to figure out how to follow us and you just haven't got to it yet, shame on you. Instagram and Twitter, Reel Debaters Pod, REEL for the spelling. Facebook, Reel Debaters Podcast. And at Reel Debaters Shorts, RD Podcast Shorts on YouTube. At RD Podcast Shorts on YouTube. Small clips from the show, highlighted moments, dumb things that definitely need to be on camera. That's what that's for. Those are the easiest ways to follow us. And then subscribe to the show, whatever podcast player you're listening to this on, if you're still listening to me. Thank you for that so much. This is the shameless promotion part of the show that I suck at, and then at the same time put you through. But if you so happen to really enjoy the show at the end of this, please subscribe. Whatever podcast player you're listening to us in. Like it, follow it, whatever puts us in your podcast player each and every week. That'd be awesome. I got nothing else for you, so I will cue that reel, and you enjoy the show.
Let's tidy up this tangle of film by putting it on a reel. Here is a motion picture film, 1,000 feet, 16,000 separate photographs.
Welcome, everybody, to the official space section of the chart.
What's the truth? You can't handle the truth.
Sir, you're out of order.
Out of order. I show you out of order.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Reel Debaters Podcast. Hello, listener. I am Michael Petrow.
I'm Emily Clark.
Dan Bond.
Hello, listener. Welcome back to the show. This week we have we're back from a little bit of a hiatus. This is our real talk coming off trivia, which I feel we should talk about. But let me introduce the whole shebang here, and then we can get into it. But we're going to give you our weekly watch list as we always do. If you're new to this is where we tell you what we think you should watch, what we've been watching, and we've got 2 fun topics for you this week. We've got the sequel. We're gonna chew the fat on maybe how saturated the market is with them and how safe they are, and then some of our favorites and what are the best, and we're gonna review a list for you. And then we're also going to get into something controversial comes this way, Emily.
Something wicked this way comes.
We're gonna talk about we've pulled another list, the 80s, 90s, and movies from the 2000s that had some controversial moments. Some hot takes, maybe some things that shouldn't have been done. Maybe we're too early. Maybe we should never talk about it all. And we're going to go through them. And between the 3 of us here, we're going to try to figure out if we can come up with a solution, maybe.
A solution to the problem of this should never have been made?
Yeah, well, that too.
Or should it have been made? And we just need to understand the context. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for, what do they call that, where you can have 2 opinions on the same opposing matter? What is that?
The debate? Real debate.
No, it's like one of those Freudian things, right? Where it's like a such and such a theory or such and such a complex. I can't remember what it is. It'll come to me later. Anyways, so let's fucking get into it. Dan, you were here the closest to the last episode.
Yes.
So we're going to let Emily have the floor, and we're going to shut up. And we're going to say, Emily, what did you fucking watch this week?
Everybody talks to Emily first.
Oh, really? Is she's
Okay.
the
more approachable.
Social lube, and then you're the closer.
That's right.
Right?
Lube.
Right? She makes it easy, and then you come in for the close. I got
You
it.
hear that, ladies? Yeah, you know what? This is actually really good because we obviously watch mostly the same things. So by me getting to go first, I get to be the more interesting one, which is wonderful.
You get first take on it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Actually, I thought about this on the drive over, and I did think of 2 things that I watched that Dan didn't. So I will go with those.
Sweet.
So the first is actually a show I've been watching with my kids, and it's really, really great. It's called Owl House. And Owl House is on Disney Plus. It's got 3 seasons. Okay. And it is about a girl named Luce who falls into another dimension and meets a witch, a wild witch, and the Owl Lady, played by Wendy Malick.
Wendy Malick. What's Wendy Malick done?
I know her from Hot in Cleveland.
Oh,
she's like
okay.
a really tall, like
yeah. Hot in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Dorothy White.
And so a really great show. And it gets into all this complexity of like witchcraft. Like they're trying to control witchcraft, but there's like wild witches, and then there's like witchcraft that's only specific to a kind of art. And Luce meets a bunch of friends along the way, and it's this really crazy animated show that's just absolutely wild. And it's like, it's fun to watch with kids. It's fun to watch when you're high. Like, really fun to watch when you're high. Because like
Dan, is that true?
I've never seen it.
Whoever created it, like whatever mind this has come from, is just absolutely bonkers. Like the animation is so cool. The monsters in it are so cool. And it's really got a lot of representation there. The main character ends up in a relationship with another girl.
Nice.
There's a lot of
Disney. Well done.
I know. Yeah. There's a lot of there's characters that are non-binary that are referred to the whole show as they
non-binary birds.
No, like humans. Actually,
I
guess technically not humans, but they them. So like that's the whole thing. And so it's got some really good representation, and I know my kids find it really. They are very excited to see things like that on TV. And
really,
yes, they're very acutely attuned.
So they're aware of the world,
yes,
and how that's interesting.
And in fact, Zoe and Lily, both our daughters, came home very upset, saying that it was not renewed after season 3, and they think it's because they're worried that it was because it's too gay. They told me that. They're like, I think it's just because it's too gay that Disney didn't want to renew it. So I don't know if that's true.
It's very
or not,
insightful and hilarious all at the same time.
But Disney, we love it, and we just wish it was gayer. Yeah. It's really good. It's a really good show. So even as an adult, I find myself wanting to watch it without them. I don't because we're watching it together. So that
you don't cheat on your children in watching habits. No, that's wrong.
But I really want to. And it's really good. I'm really enjoying the story. And it's a lot of fun. If you like, I don't know, anything great, really. If you like witches and magic and weird fucking
hard-rooted in
animation.
fantasy by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it's really, really good. really.
That's cool. Like, what's the like? Is it animation comparable to anything for a listener? Like, what could you say? It's kind of like.
It definitely feels like the newer Disney shows for kids. Like
Okay.
if your kids have grown up watching the animation style of like I don't know, Sophia the First or like Doc McStuffins or whatever, it's sort of the newer computer animated style. But this is like it's weirder. I just can't. It definitely leans hard into being weird. The monsters are scary and weird.
Okay.
Like. Yeah, weird shit happens. Ida, the owl lady, is the main witch, and she sells human garbage at like a flea market.
A human garbage dump?
She's literally like her job is selling human garbage to like witches and wizards.
Like poop?
No, like just garbage. Like,
Like my garbage out by the.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Like
In the black
the
bin.
things you've
Okay.
thrown out. Yeah,
Well, human garbage. Come on, sounds like poop.
it does. Yeah, or a person, a really shitty person, human garbage.
Oh, I got it.
No,
Okay.
no,
Emotional
like-
vampire. Got it.
Actual trash. Yeah, which is pretty fun. So yeah, if you haven't
An
checked it
owl,
out-
not Owl City. That's a band. Owl.
well,
What's the
now
name
I
of the sh-
forget.
Oh my
Owl
God.
Owl House.
Owl House.
Owl House. Yeah, and there's a little dog that thinks he's the king of demons. It's the whole thing is really
As does any dog.
yeah, it's really good. So if you haven't seen Owl House, definitely check it out. And then independently, I was I don't know sleeping or not feeling so well. I don't remember what Dan was doing, but I watched that new Rob Lowe show on Netflix.
Oh, what the fuck is it? Yeah.
Unhinged. On
Is he a therapist? Do I have
no,
that?
he's
No,
like
that's-
but like kind of close. He's like a unstable. He's it's called Unstable. He is like a biotech genius who is trying to solve the world's energy crisis, but he's lost his mind. Like
Oh.
he's just gone off the deep end, and he's like he just refuses to get any work done or do anything. And his son, I guess his mom died. His mom was there, like his Rob Lowe's wife. This guy's son was the glue that sort of held the family together.
Got it.
And so his Rob Lowe's character's assistant goes and gets his son and says, like, you got to come help your dad get his head on straight. Like, we got to get this project done. So it's a very capitalizing on the whole father-son like thing that we have going on in pop culture right now.
Is there a... Sorry, I'm a child of divorce with a horrible father, so I don't pay attention.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like, there's the idea, or like the father and kid, like the ideas in Mandalorian and
Oh, okay.
Last of Us.
Got it,
and
got it, got it.
That
Okay.
what was that horrible
The-
movie
the-
that you liked that I didn't? That was
65.
65. Yeah, that movie was terrible.
It's got dinosaurs. It's always
I
good.
loved it. Yeah, it was fun.
Ugh.
I'm going to watch it when it's not $25 on Amazon, but I'm going to watch it. Yeah. Oh, got it. Thanks.
But yeah, no, it was exactly what you want in like a sitcom-y, like
Is it a
father-son
dramedy,
rom-
like a dark comedy?
No, it's very light and very floofy and very cute and fun and feel good across the board. 22-minute episodes. Like, yeah, just
Chef's
like
kiss.
Big Bang or Friends or whatever, New Girl.
Is
all
it
fits
campy
in
like
that.
a network comedy?
Yep, definitely
Okay.
feels like a network comedy. Fun, light. I giggled quite a bit, and I watched the whole thing beginning to end without even getting up to go pee. So.
Big fan of Lone Star 911 over here. Like I love
Yeah.
my Rob Lowe from LA trying to fix problems in Texas.
But see, like, I don't know about
is it-
Rob Lowe serious. I've never seen that one, to be
Okay.
fair, but I like Rob Lowe being funny.
It's not serious,
Okay,
by the way. It's
good.
it's like campy like a soap.
I like Rob Lowe to be funny.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah.
And so I'm really enjoying this one. I felt like it sort of his character kind of harkened back to Chris Traeger for me, like from Parks and Rec,
Okay.
where he's just like overly happy, very excited. Like he's a really nice guy. He doesn't really have a full grasp on reality though, but I really enjoyed it. So.
I appreciate another human walking through life like that. I walk through life like that some days.
Yeah.
Do I have a grasp on this today?
Nah.
Nah.
But his kid has a really good grasp on reality, and there's some cute little like,
Am I wrong when I ask if his actual kid is his son from?
It is his son from real life.
Yeah,
I'm very certain
yeah.
it is. Yeah.
They did a
You
horror.
told me it was. when
Yeah.
you watched it.
Trying to double check now.
I want it to be if it's not because I love
Yeah,
when that shit happens.
John and Lowe. Yeah.
John Owen Lowe. Okay,
Yeah.
they did like a ghost hunting series together on history.
Cute.
Him and both sons,
Nice.
and they traveled around and they went to haunted mansions and shit on history.
That sounds fun.
I kind of wanted to check this out. Like I like when Netflix does those. Like I like The Ranch, right? Like The Ranch
Yeah.
was fun
No, it's
until Danny Masterson wasn't. But like, yeah, no, those are good times.
cute AF. Like I can't find a single bad thing with the show. It's just it's exactly what you want. It's standard easy.
You and me are
light,
kindred like
happy.
that, where it's
Yeah.
like, give me something that makes me happy
Yeah.
and takes me away. And
Tickled all my nice brain spots right
Yeah.
there where you wanted to, right? You felt nice and cozy and relaxed, and I could watch it again.
and it's uplifting
Yep.
instead of like, why is this character spiraling downward?
Oh yeah, there's nothing sad or upsetting about it.
It's
at
not
all.
Uncut Gems.
No, no. Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
No, it's none of those things. It's
Fucking, I'm so glad I deleted that TikTok we did of that. I was embarrassed to fuck. Go on.
oh, it was hilarious. No, I loved it. So I both definitely recommend. It's only feel good movies and shows for me today. Check out Owl House and check out whatever
Hinged.
I decided it was
Was
called.
it
Unhinged.
No.
No.
You check it out.
I'll check it again.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Fact check yourself.
Unsomethinged for sure.
Unfollowed.
Yes, unstable.
Unstable.
Yeah.
Unstable. How many perfect heads of hair of Rob Lowe do you give it?
You know, I want to hesitate to give it like a perfect score, but then when I think about what it is, I do think it's perfect. So if you're looking for something like deep and thought provoking and like Emmy worthy, then just like carry on. You know, we don't need your kind here. But if you want something enjoyable and fun, honestly, I think it's a perfect sitcom. 10 out of 10.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
10
There's
beautiful hair coiffs.
There's a fucking perfect ace right there.
Yeah.
And how many sets of Hooters eyes?
So the guy the owl house is actually
Owl Hotel.
The owl house is actually guarded by an owl, or the owl is the house. It's hard to figure out, but his name is Hootie, and so there you go. So
Is it a blowfish?
so 9 out of 10 Hooties, I'm pretty sure, and only because
Wow.
I'm sad it's not coming back. I feel like they could 10 out of 10 it if they just kept being gay on TV.
It was too gay.
Not gay enough.
Not enough
No
gay
such
owls
thing.
out there.
No such thing as too gay.
Listener. No. No, there isn't. Dan.
Well, I saw a version of Ant-Man, the Quantum Mania one, and
You saw a version of Ant-Man.
it wasn't a great version because it's not
Not as
on
good as the
Disney
other
yet.
two?
The
No.
the
Oh, got it.
unofficial
I
version.
Okay.
I didn't go and see it in a theater,
Copy.
but the sound wasn't great. But I really enjoyed it, and I don't know what everyone was talking about.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, there's a hot take coming.
So
I know. I think everyone here was pretty convinced that this was the biggest piece of hot garbage I'd ever seen. So
Agreed, but let's
hear it.
I love
see
that.
what
He
has to
starts
say.
off, he's just walking down the street, he's having a good time. The turns it took didn't go the way I thought they were going to go. And so
Okay.
I'll agree with you on that one.
and so I was surprised by it, and I was like, I liked it. It was Ant-Man. The first one, was it funny? Was it entertaining? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. Was the second one? Not so much. Was this one? Yeah, I thought so.
I
was
started
fun.
trying to watch this version, and the sound quality was too bad, and I
Yeah.
said,
Halt. We'll wait. It's got to be on Disney soon.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it is because it's on home release right now, and everybody else
Mm.
like on Prime, you can buy it for $78, I think.
Jesus.
No, I'm just making up a number. I'm just saying, like everybody's just like that home release, baby. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe make it $16.99 like a DVD was.
Yeah.
Let's get back to selling DVDs, and I think a lot more of us will buy your shit. Anyways, so you liked it.
Liked it.
You want to
Okay.
ask him first question, like what he liked about it? I feel we should start there.
No, well, actually, I don't want to talk about that one actually because everybody's talked about it all the
Oh,
time.
okay. So you're just checking a box.
Yeah, I'm just
Okay,
checking a
cool.
box.
Yeah, sure.
I just wanted people to know that it was good.
Bill
And-
Murray
and
was
that-
good.
and they were all wrong. But Triangle I saw and
Of Sadness?
Yeah.
Nope, just Triangle.
That was good.
And I don't even remember when it was. Like, it's not new.
Okay.
But it's about this group of 20-year-olds go on a boat, and it sinks, and then they get picked up by a bigger boat, and then there's all time loops and murders and death and
It
spookiness.
was extremely good.
Yeah,
Yeah. That
it
one
was-
was really fun.
I hadn't really didn't really read up about it, and I watched it, and it was just great.
I feel like
What?
we've seen a few time loop movies lately.
Yeah, we went on a bit. Sometimes I go on a bit of
Yeah.
a time kick, but
Do you? Yeah, no. There are times where I just want to watch movies about
Yeah.
time travel and find out which one is the closest to reality, which is Looper.
Primer.
Primer. That's
Primer.
it. Sorry.
Yeah,
But
Primer
Primer
is
also
so
fucks with you
good.
too.
Yeah.
Because-
Every time you watch it, I try and figure it out.
I feel
I've
like we-
read papers
Yeah.
on.
Primer,
Yeah,
Tenet,
yeah.
Looper.
Looper
Frequently asked questions about time travel.
frequently
That's
asked questions
the
about time
best time
travel
travel.
is the
Yeah, the best.
ultimate time travel.
And the
movie.
TV show Lost. Time Island,
Well,
Back Through Time,
I don't.
different dimension of time.
We started rewatching it. We're on like season
2,
but like I don't remember it being a time island.
Okay.
But maybe
wait.
Maybe I just deleted the last because I know that I didn't enjoy the last season.
Oh, because of the writer's strike, which we side with the writers here on this show.
Solidarity.
Fucking get paid, strike as long as you need to. There's lots of stuff out there for us to watch.
But make me a good story.
Yeah, no, make us good stories when you do come back. Okay, so what's Triangle on?
My Plex.
Okay, no, whatever, it's fine.
I think it might be Amazon.
I think we watched. I think it was Amazon.
But who?
Yeah.
Okay, who? Like, is it a horror? Is it a?
It's a
sci-fi
sci-fi
suspense
thriller.
sci-fi. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's nobody famous in it. Like nobody recognizable.
Yeah, bring up the details there while you're looking for it.
Yeah.
If I can. Is it American? Is it European? Like,
it's
is it
American? Yeah.
Yeah. I think I saw it maybe in passing. Like, it doesn't. Like, does it have like a really
2009?
Really? Never mind. I'm
Yeah,
totally talking
horror
out my ass.
Thriller. I don't know where it's streaming though. I don't know.
I
where to
can't.
see
Yeah, I
it.
don't even remember how we came across it.
No,
but
it's on. Oh, it's on
was
Prime.
just one of
It's
those
on.
things
I've
that-
just.
Okay.
directed by Christopher Smith.
Okay.
I sometimes get a lot of movies without really reading it. I just read the first.
Oh, you're just
three
like, do
lines.
it.
I'll watch it. I'll say that man's all right, and then I'll watch it. And if it's good, it's good. But if it's bad,
Is this good time loop stuff, or is it?
yeah,
Is it science?
I really enjoyed it.
Really?
Here, this
Yeah,
is,
it was quite good.
And the actors? What do we got? Who's
Like nobody you know.
Never
Really?
know it.
Have they done anything else, or is this just like? Did you guys stumble upon one of those like indie darlings for like $10 million that fucking rocked your
So
world?
Melissa George is the main character. And
Okay.
I can't see that. Honestly,
It's gonna be really fun to put.
Joshua McIver, Jack Taylor, Michael
Yeah.
Dorman. I don't know. Any.
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't
no,
know,
I don't know
I
those.
don't know any of the people. The director was Christopher Smith.
Yeah.
It was just.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Came out of left field.
Did you like?
It's
what-
only got 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb, but I don't rate that.
So,
as that much.
They go on a boat, and then
It's like you don't even want to tell.
Yeah,
it's
like,
hard.
Is it one of
yeah,
those?
don't-
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Like if you enjoy a time movie and a sci-fi movie, not really sci-fi, a suspense movie, and like with splashings of horror in it, then just watch it.
It was good.
I do like my sci-fi and horror combined. I can't remember the name. Event Horizon.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah.
Fucking live and die by that movie being one of the coolest sci-fi horror movies, and like shit can be scary in space. Like I
Yeah,
think
oh,
that
hell
really
Yeah.
it wasn't a tapped in genre.
What was the other time loop one we watched this week? Because there was another
Was
one.
it this week we watched it?
Yeah. Oh, the Tomorrow War.
Oh, with Pratt.
Yeah.
Chris
Pratt. Yeah,
Pratt.
yeah, yeah. That looked like an Amazon hot piece of shit because they have money to burn, so they're like, hey, let's just get Chris Pratt over the wall today.
It wasn't great, but
It's getting a sequel too. Speaking of,
It was.
I definitely laughed a lot more than you would expect.
I
someone
don't think they intended
don't
for
think
us
they
to
meant
laugh,
for
and
me
we
to
did.
a lot,
But it was entertaining in the way that I didn't pick up my phone very
Yeah,
often to
yeah.
it,
Which
while
is
I
a
was
huge
watching it.
indicator
So,
of
like,
how much-
I
yeah.
was watching it. It wasn't until the end when it got a bit predictable, and it was just. So I start scrolling through Instagram and stuff at the end. I'm like, oh, they're talking boring. I don't care about
Amazon.
It was fun though.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah.
fun one.
Cool. How many right angles do you give it? Isosceles.
I would give it
Obtuses.
I was gonna say, don't be obtuse. So cute.
Guys,
Fuck off with your puns.
I've got to leave. I'd say like a solid 7.5,
Okay. All right.
maybe an 8. But
Maybe
yeah,
an 8.
7.5.
Yeah.
It's not obtuse at all. No. It's quite
It's
on
scalene.
It's
That's what on your scale.
Oh my god, you just aced, you were just in love with
7.5
geometry.
on the scalene of 10.
Bring a protractor next time you come over. All right, yeah, I not a lot of movies. Lots of TV. Like what did I go see in the theater? What the fuck was Wick I saw in the theater. That was the last one I saw, so it's been like a minute. No, Mario I saw in the
Oh, we
theater.
saw Mario. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys were a little let down by Mario. I remember you
Yeah,
were saying
the
kinda.
kids liked it.
Well, Mario is just a collection of video game scenes that have talking people in them,
I
and
fell
they
as-
don't
I
really
fell
tell a
asleep
congruent story.
During it.
Yeah, it was just boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. I get it. Like, it was a nostalgia bomb.
Yeah, and it was very colorful. The kids liked it. It was flashing
Totally.
on the screen.
Totally. But like lots of miniseries. Yellow Jackets is huge in our world
I
right
haven't
now.
watched it.
No, I still haven't seen that one.
Oh, you still have like
No.
not? Oh my word! I can't implore you enough. It's you guys know the premise.
I do, yeah.
So it's a soccer team full of girls in the '90s, hard '90s, hard like soundtracks '90s, references are '90s, so '90s, and I'm not even involved in it. They get on a plane and the plane crashes in the wilderness somewhere and they have to survive. Well, it's Lord of the Flies meets I don't know, Mean Girls is like kind of the real bare bones of it, but it's shocking and it's very violent and it's turning into this like what there something happened while they were out there, and you have two versions of the show. You have them older. You have Melanie Linsky and Juliette Lewis, and the girl who played the lead in 6 Feet Under, played Claire.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name.
That's right. I forgot Juliette Lewis had a bit of a comeback tour on that
yeah,
show.
no, she's killing it in this. So you have the older versions of the kids who like are hiding the secret, and then you have them when they're younger, and the secret's unraveling, and that's the story. So you go
Nice.
back and forth.
What's it on?
It's on Showtime.
Showtime.
So Crave every Sunday. Like there's a girl with a baby. She's like her water just broke last week. There's no fucking episode Sunday night. Drove us nuts. But it's great watching that. What I really, really loved was fucking Beef.
Oh, I still haven't seen that too. That's high on my list also.
I think A24 needs to make lots of TV shows.
Yeah.
Their long format stuff is like it's a tale of two angry people who have road rage.
I've heard nothing but good things.
And they have a
Absolutely nothing but
beef.
good things. Yeah.
A beef forms, and you just out of that comes a insane story of how they just get involved in each other's lives and both try to do better but both fail at the same time. Ali Wong, stop being a comedian. Just act. That girl
She's incredible.
She's fucking unstoppable.
Yeah.
And I'm also like, you're 4'9". Like watching her on camera strut around, I'm like, she does a really good job of making you forget that, or just the DP does when he's filming
Projectile,
her.
that's the thing.
Projectile, yeah. But it's really Steven Yeun is like never given a chance to really act enough, and like is awesome. Like everybody's awesome.
Yeah.
David Choi, he's fucking an idiot in it, but he's even good at being an idiot. It's heartbreaking. It's a horror at sometimes.
Ooh.
It's the funniness of A24. Like it doesn't have any like heads being chopped off in Heredity, but like, you know, it does push the boundaries in some ways. It's very sexual. It's very violent. And
The opposite of what I watched. this
yeah,
week.
no, totally. But then there's these really funny moments of comedy that just make no sense sometimes. Like where they're placed, they're absolutely hilarious, but they don't tie anything together. But yeah, like super strong cast. A24 should make a ton of shows. What else did I put?
Are you watching Survivor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm watching Survivor.
Get away with not talking about Survivor.
What happened last week? I vaguely.
It was
Somebody got voted
another
out.
blindside. It's just been blindside after blindside.
It's been like 3 in a row.
Yeah,
The big tall black guy went home.
They blindsided Kane. He went home with his.
That's
the
right,
fake, with that
because
fake
he's our
idol
Canadian, right?
and the fake idol in his pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Better to go home with a fake idol in your pocket than
a
never
real,
play it.
Yeah, exactly. But
And be like, I got an idol.
what's
No,
her
you
name?
fucking
Yeah.
don't, you idiot.
Like the person that he had it from now thinks that she lost her idol because it's in his pocket.
The black girl with the birthmark. Sorry, this is how I judge everybody on the show.
I
like,
don't remember their names,
you're-
but I
neither
watch
do
every
I.
episode.
Yeah, the girl with the big beautiful hair.
the
Yeah,
beautiful hair. Yeah.
she was part of their alliance.
Well, because they thought somebody was going to do the
knowledge is power.
knowledge is power on
Yeah.
them, so they switched. So her fake
But it
idol.
wasn't her fake idol. It was the other girl, the plant mama girl, the one with the dark hair, the like little. I can't remember her name.
Is she the Mexican lady
She might be Mexican.
or Spanish of some?
No, I know who you're talking about.
I'm
but
not
no,
ignorant,
her.
guys. I just
Not her.
stereotype. It's quicker.
No, she's like I don't know. She's unremarkable. She hasn't been doing much in the game. She's just kind of scooting on through.
I really liked that they made them have to basically work to get into Merge.
Yeah.
I like that you've
It's like you're
merged,
not merged
Yeah.
yet.
but you're not merged yet.
Yeah.
I think that's a really fun thing. I didn't like the travel back in time bit they did a couple years ago.
right where you could undo it.
That not
Yeah.
fun.
No.
But like, all right,
I think it was fun once. 'Cause
yeah.
everybody was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
But that's not a gag you can put
No.
on repeat for sure.
Yeah.
I
This is reality TV time. I love it. There's Survivor, Big Brother Canada.
yeah.
There's a new MasterChef in the UK.
There's a new Top Chef right
Worlds.
now. Yeah, Top Chef Worlds. I'm
Yeah.
watching Buddha's my boy.
Yeah, we've been watching
When Buddha speaks, I get so confused. I'm like, you have an Australian accent.
I know.
And you're from China.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand
Put
that.
it all together.
But he wins like all the
Yeah, he's
time.
really good, and he's not afraid to stand up for himself. He's like, I'm not going home because of your mashed potatoes. Like, so good.
But he's a little bit of a diva about it.
I love
I'm
it.
not going home because of your mashed potatoes. And then with that lovely, cute lisp of his.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. Reality television is like the
Lit.
Vanderpump bullshit that was going on. I remember. I don't know if did you know Vanderpumps?
Oh, no, I didn't watch it.
Anyway, so yeah,
Litty
beef,
titty.
beef,
Love
like 8 out of 10 ribeyes,
Nice.
right? Or
Ribeyes.
translations to the show, 8 out of 10 rice cookers. Those play a prominent role. That played Katy Perry. 8 out of 10 Stephen Yeun singing in church.
Ooh.
There's one point in the show where he leads a church praise group, and he's
What-
like singing to the Lord.
What did you give Yellow Jackets? I don't remember your.
I didn't give it anything. Good call, Dan.
here for it.
I give Yellow Jackets 9 roasting bodies over a fire out of 10.
Ooh.
There is a scene.
Oh, well,
where
now I want to see.
that. Oh, there are things.
There are things.
There are things
Prepare yourself
that
for the things.
they were leaning towards, and I was like, when are they going to eat each other? Right? Like, because that's a question when a bunch of people
Yeah.
are trapped in a cabin.
Day 3.
Right? Well, I would. I'm
Yeah,
not.
I'm a hungry guy.
I'm sorry. If there's a dead body,
Oh, you have to.
yeah. It's
okay.
not. You don't
you
kill.
can't pick someone like.
No.
To get it fresh.
No.
You're ready to just like off someone and eat him.
This guy looks tasty.
1, 2, 3, not it.
Short straw.
No,
you know,
like
the bigger people eat first, right?
the question is just like in the movie Alive or in any
Yeah,
movie
for
where there's a dead body hanging around and you're like, well, I'm hungry. What are we going to rest on our morals here? Or are we going to fucking feed ourselves? And that apparently that comes into the show. And I was like, when are we going to do this? And then they just do it. Then
yeah, no, it wouldn't take long.
they were like edging you, and then finally they were like splat, and I was like, whoa. But in the show, like, I mean, it's months before they get to it in the show, in their timeline.
Mhm.
But like show wise, like plot wise, they were just like, yeah, you obviously know this is going to happen. And then it was like, here you go.
Nice. Yeah.
Served up on a platter, literally.
Yikes.
But 8 out of 10, like medium rare, small girls who play soccer done over an open fire.
Nice.
Yeah. Francis Molman would be impressed.
Oh my god.
If you watch any cook shows, you know
Yeah.
he loves the 5 flavors of burnt.
Perfectly charred.
Anyways,
He was delicious.
we got a show to do, so let's kick into it because we're on the clock here. So watch it, listener. Watch Beef. Watch Owl Lagoon.
Owl House.
Owl House. And unscheduled. Unhinged.
Unstable.
Unstable. And Triangle.
Triangle.
Did you see Triangle of Sadness yet, though?
No.
No, you guys. Oh, guys, please
Is it good?
You're gonna.
Is it funny?
I'm gonna say the same thing you said to me about Triangle.
Just go watch it.
Just go
Just watch
experience it.
Just go watch
Can you
it.
not tell me a genre?
It was at the same time that he
Dramedy.
recommended
Dark
the
comedy.
Menu. He also recommended Triangle of Sadness, and The Menu turned out to be one of the favorite movies I've ever seen in my whole life. So I imagine
I've watched The
Triangle
Menu
of Sadness.
3 times.
I have too. I can't. That movie
Nerds.
lives rent free in my brain. It's so good.
It has just scenes you can watch and then you can just ditch it.
Perfect.
I don't know if
movie.
I told you this fact. I think I told it to you that the famous guy, I can't remember his name now, the played the actor.
Right, Rafe.
Was actually supposed to be played by Daniel Radcliffe, playing himself as Daniel Radcliffe.
Like the
But
guy, like
something
the
came up.
actor who was there with his assistant.
Oh,
as one of the
you're telling
diners.
me that George Leguizamo, or no, not John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
Sorry, George.
Yeah,
was
was
originally supposed to be Daniel Radcliffe
as
playing.
Daniel Radcliffe.
As Daniel Radcliffe.
I don't know.
And
I
there-
can't validate this.
Okay, well, the
but-
Menu is, I believe, Adam McKay. Fact check me on that,
Oh, okay.
listener. So
Yeah.
with Adam McKay as an EP, you've got that dark humor.
Oh,
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
So
I
fucking-
don't
that
know
would've
where
been-
I don't know where I heard it, and I don't even know if it might have been out of the ether, but I heard it and I was like, that would have been great
it
You
was
like, yeah, fuck.
yeah.
as himself, right? So he can get killed because he did something bad.
Oh my God, the
That's
things you
spoilers.
Because he
I
made
guess.
Harry Potter.
No, that's fine. I mean, obviously now everybody knows it's George Leguizamo. I mean, John. I'm just kidding. All right, so yeah, watch the shit we tell you to watch because we think it's good, and you can tell us if you don't because there's a link in our bio on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, kids, that has a voicemail line. So if you want to express an opinion to Dan, Emily, or myself, that would be a great place to do it. And then we'll play it on the show. And then we'll, argue one way and win.
Yeah,
But,
if you disagree with me, I don't actually want to hear it.
yeah, no. Well, we'll play it on another show she's not on, and then
That's my job.
I don't listen. It's okay.
But yeah, let's move into it here. So first topic up here. Let's open the floor. Sequels, motherfucking sequels.
Love them.
I do too.
Love them. I really because okay. Why do you love them?
Because they continue the story of the characters that I've already fallen in love with in the first movie.
Yeah.
Yes. So more of the same thing you love.
I feel like I am a child of the sequel generation.
Oh, for sure.
It really at some point in maybe the early 90s or no, maybe mid 90s, someone decided, why would we make new things when we can just capitalize on nostalgia? And then you just got they just started hitting us with at first bad sequels, right? It was bad Disney sequels and things like that. And it was
how many Aladdins are there now?
There's 3 at least, but just exactly just churning out this crap. But eventually they figured it out, or maybe I just got older and I started watching movies
That's what
that were
happened.
better.
Yeah,
and I just but I agree. It's once you've invested the time and energy into falling in love with a character or a set of characters, a location, real or imaginary, the storyline. It's so much more calm and happy for your brain to revisit that place and those people.
totally. Yeah, it's the law. What is it? Not the law of diminishing returns, but just going back to the well.
Yeah,
every
and
time. And
I'll go back and rewatch the same movie, the same show over and over again, looking for that sensation. And so if I can find that with a different storyline, aces.
A good sequel's got to put a good spin on it, though, right? I don't want the same movie second. There's got to be some. It's got like we just saw in Scream.
Whatever Scream we're watching. Yeah, the sequel to the requel to the.
It's got to be
franchise.
bigger, better, blah blah blah.
are they even saying that in it?
Oh yeah.
Oh
well,
yeah.
did you see the Scream when she was okay? So you should see both of the new Screams.
I've seen the first
of
new
the new
Scream.
Yeah, where she's talking about it being a requel, right?
Yes.
So
the
this
girl who
is-
takes over for Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah.
Who's
and
also in Yellow Jackets, by the way.
So in this one, she's talking about how it's a sequel, requel, but now it's a franchise, and it's what happens in a franchise.
Yeah,
And
no,
so they would go
yeah.
through the rules, and it was
so
fun.
good. It was so much fun.
No, and I those are
That was
are
a bad movie, though. I just want to point that out.
It's the new Scream.
Yeah.
Oh, I liked it.
No, it was bad.
Does it have? I don't think Scream's ever been good. I think it's always been bad.
Well, and I mean, okay, let's
That's
definition of sequel is the follow up, right?
Yeah, the second. Yeah.
But everything when you get it, every Marvel movie is a sequel technically, right? I mean, you could really get in the weeds about that. But at the same time, a traditional sequel, Back to the Future 2, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back,
Yeah.
T2, the on the nose ones.
Yeah. I think a proper sequel has to be the second one.
Yes.
Has to be.
In my list, or just a proper sequel?
In all things.
Oh,
a
okay.
sequel will be part 2 to whatever it is.
Dan saying
That one was.
in his British voice, and now it's done. It's
It's
sequel
over.
is the second
I
movie.
said it with confidence, therefore it is true.
Okay. God, I want to be Hugh Grant. Or you.
Basically the same person.
Yeah, exactly. Are you playing an Oompa Loompa
I'm
in the
not
new
rich.
Willy Wonka?
I'm not rich enough to be Hugh Grant.
Rich in spirit, one might say. Yeah, no, it's got to continue the story. I think that's the because there's sequels for the sake of sequel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was these characters are great, and then if they do nothing, your sequel, Indiana Jones doesn't run congruently,
It
and
could be a different story, though.
it's a different story with the same character.
Yeah, and the next thing that happens in his life.
Exactly,
Yes.
right? So
Alien and Aliens, too. It's I think Aliens might be the best sequel. We'll get to that later. But, it's a complete. There's just one character the same, and the bad guy.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
It's the longest protagonist antagonist
Yes.
sci-fi story because it's just Ridley and the alien. everybody else changes. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just Ridley and the Xenomorph story.
Well, then really that's what it is, right? You pick either a person or people or storyline, and it's what's happening to them next.
Yeah.
And so it could be you could get away with it just with the Xenomorph, really, if you wanted to, and it would still
It
feel
would work,
like you'd get your.
But what
continuity.
I'm saying, I wish something will come to me later, but like where you take the original and then you make a sequel, but it's like everything, like nothing's answered, right? Those are the ones that really, really suck, in my opinion.
Right,
And
because
I-
it's no point. It's just rehashing the characters or the story for the sake of the story. It doesn't give you any closure or continuity for that storyline.
Yeah, it used to be the fact that I was like, well, this isn't fun because I'm not getting anything before, but now it's like, you greedy Hollywood fucks, like get off your, put on your thinking caps
Yeah.
and stop, like Beetlejuice 2, as much as I want it, I really hope it's not going to be one of those sequels where it's like, wouldn't it be? Because now we got Michael Keaton back and Winona Ryder back.
I didn't know that.
This is like 2 weeks old.
It's just it's fresh.
It's very fresh. But like, are we doing that to continue a story that
I want it.
I know you want it.
I want it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just using this.
Everybody
as
wants it. That's why they're going to make it, because even if it sucks, it'll still make a lot of money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what if it doesn't suck, right?
I
Like,
guess
what if they actually be like Lydia's daughter? Fine, like they go back.
Yes.
They
I
own
think
the
it's
summer
like,
home, and
it's going to depend on who they put in charge of it and which direction.
it's Tim Burton. They're all agreeing to come
Oh,
back.
there you go.
Oh, well, then it's going to be great.
But
Hopefully.
It will be. It's Tim Burton.
that's a
And
movie in the 80s when studios were taking gambles. Now it's going to be like, where do we have our product placement? What groups do we need to make sure we don't offend? Like, there's a lot different in making a sequel of that nature now, and that's the sake of making the sequel because it's popular versus the sequel because it would be great.
That's true.
Empire is a great sequel
Yes.
because it just it's like, okay,
It's a continuation of the story.
right, Luke is trying to find out who his father is. There's these little
Yeah.
breadcrumbs that have been left behind, and then we go, okay, he's continuing his training.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, he's going after his father. Well, not yet. He doesn't even know, but okay, he's going after Lord Vader, and then finds out it's his father, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on, right? This is this big epic story, but what can we do with Beetlejuice 2 that...
But that's the thing, too. Like, if you're giving it to Burton and you got Keaton and you got all of the original guys coming back, I think that they're going to want to put out something good. I don't think they're doing it for the money. Like, none of those people need the money.
No,
right?
I just
So,
I equate more studio interference now that
I
ruins
think-
sequels
Yeah,
than
but
before, where
I agree to it, but Tim Burton's gonna not. He's gonna look at those notes and go, no.
he's a company man, dude. He's Disney.
Yeah,
He's like an old. Everyone forgets he's a fucking Disney employee. Like
Yeah.
Disney's probably the reason this is happening.
right, but look at what's coming out on Disney now too. Like some of the they're not as. They don't only do PG stuff.
That's true.
anymore.
And they
So,
don't
like,
don't necessarily do things that they think audiences are going to
Yeah,
love.
like Werewolf by Night. Like that was something
Yeah.
that came out of left field. I love that.
yeah, that was good. Strange World was really good.
Yeah.
It's
Michael
super
Michael
surprising.
Chia, what's his name? Who did Werewolf by Night? He's
Oh, I
a
don't
composer
know.
who did his first movie.
It was good. It was a
That
lot
was
of fun.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
composer
Yeah.
went and became a director. I'm like, that's a fucking bold move.
So yeah,
Lots
so,
of fun.
so Disney are taking. They're still. Well, Disney always takes risks, but usually they
That's true.
publish the safe stuff, right? So
Okay, so I think we have a good grasp of what we like and what we don't like about sequels.
yeah.
Emily, what's like your jam sequel, like your perfect sequel? And it could be globally fucking hated. I want to know, what's your fucking jam sequel?
My favorite sequel ever is whatever it is, like 20 years later, where we're back to the quick stop. And and
Thank you.
and
you.
they're still there.
Low hanging
Like,
fruit.
and-
This
yeah,
is easy.
it has to be Clerks 2. It's just the perfect.
Oh, we totally do.
The perfect setup. Yeah, I wasn't even supposed to be here today. It's the perfect setup. They get more. I think Clerks 2 is more offensive than Clerks 1. Like Clerks was dark and weird.
It's how many dicks did you suck versus
Yeah, and like
donkey porn
and like sleeping with a dead guy, whatever in the first one, right? Versus like
or
like sex with a dead guy in the
a
bathroom
monkey that
versus,
occupies
like,
a deck-like area.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
We're
Like,
taking it back.
right? No,
For life.
no. That's what my grandma called me when we hung out on the deck.
Yeah. Oh my
Right?
God. It's exactly. And it's so funny. Rosario Dawson is really, really good in it. And
Pillow pants? You're forgetting
mean,
pillow
pillow pants.
pants.
Yeah.
The little pussy troll.
What the fuck is a pussy troll? But it just flows beautifully, and you're like, of course these chuckle fucks never got a real job.
Yeah.
Like, of course
Yeah.
they never did anything with their life. Like, of course they're still here, and like this is still what they're doing, and it just. It takes you right back to where you were, but at the same time, you're like, oh man, I haven't done anything with my life since I watched Clerks, and neither of
it's
these
very
guys.
cathartic.
Like, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Jason Lee walking in and having the Lord of the Rings debate.
yeah, exactly. Like the movie's great. It's funny. It's as funny as the first one.
Yes.
It's
I think it's funnier than the first
it might
one.
even be funnier.
Well, the first
Yeah.
one's like a commentary on his conversations and his musings through life
Yeah.
more than conversations that are really funny to have, right?
Yeah.
Like the person looking at the egg and the guy showing up with the cigarettes and trying to sell it. Like all of those moments in the first one, there's not as much graphic, dick and fart joke
Yeah.
stuff. That elevates in two.
Yeah,
for sure.
but like that even makes sense to me. Is like the farther you've gotten in your life in this stupid dead end job, like the less fucks you're gonna give about like how you're interacting with your customers and like how you're interacting with each other when you're at work, and like I don't know. I think it's great, and yeah, I loved it.
No, it is.
I loved it.
Like
And movies. It's
It's a great movie.
It is such-
I got this is a movie's visor right there.
Oh, yeah,
that's the thing I got when I talked to Mr. Smith.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and Kevin Smith makes. I mean, I need to. The caveat on this is that I love Kevin Smith. I love every movie Kevin Smith's ever made, even
He's
the
okay.
weird ones. I think he's a cool guy. I think everything that he says and does online is really interesting as well. I follow his career really closely. I follow his daughter's career really closely now. I follow.
Harley.
Yeah, exactly. I
Jen.
follow like.
Do you know that you can pay $1,000 to be on his podcast? It's
can
the
pay-
Golden Calf. You go if you become part of his fan club.
Jeez.
And I get it because like that's time and money, and that he's
Yeah.
taking an afternoon out. And I was like, yeah, okay, I could definitely see how that's actually in line with
Yep.
with good pricing. But it's on his fan club site. You can start at $5, and you're classified as like a yoga hoser or a clerk or a movie muffin and
Nice.
like, you get a title. But the Golden Calf is
$1,000. Like on his
$1,000
Patreon or whatever, and then
yeah,
you
you
can
just
go on his-
Patreon him, and then you
go on his
fly to
podcast.
LA, and he'll make you dinner and have podcasts with you.
That's beautiful. See, what a cool guy.
Like I'm not against.
I just read the other day that he stopped smoking weed.
It's like 14 weeks.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
I'm not into him at all.
He's like
why though?
he just got to the end of it. It's the same reason that I don't drink alcohol, I think, anymore. It's just, it wasn't adding anything of value, and in fact it was detracting in some ways from his life. So good for him. He's real sober. I'm California sober. But one of these I'm not stopped smoking.
Yeah.
If anything, I smoke more weed now
Yeah.
than I used to. but good
Hey
for
ho.
him.
Good. No, totally.
Yeah.
There's some stuff I'll talk to you about after that happened last week that's really cool about him too. Dan, what's your sequel jam?
I know this one.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's Terminator 2.
No, Terminator 2 is a great one. It's not the best.
Ah.
I think These Aliens is, I think, one of my favorite.
Do you know
Also,
do you know the joke?
The Dark Knight as well.
Do you know the joke about aliens? When-
Yeah, with the dollar sign.
With the pitch, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know this?
No, I don't know it.
Okay, so he was in, I guess whoever was in front of the execs, and they're like, "Well, what do you want to do?" And he was like, "They had alien written on the chalkboard." So he's like, "All right, well, this is what we're gonna do." And he just writes a
An
S and a dollar sign at the end, and he's like, "We're
Nice.
gonna do aliens." And they were like, "Okay,"
Yeah, sold.
but it is Aliens 2 is your jam.
Yeah, it jumps genres, and it goes from like a suspense horror to an action sci-fi.
Yes.
And then not one alien. There's fucking thousands of them. all
And then
over the
she's
place.
one,
And yeah, like it's.
and then she's fucking them,
Yeah, it's insane.
and now we have 2 new prequels that are paving the way to where we are. You don't look like you like them.
I haven't. I heard about it only very recently, and I try and stay away from news until I.
Well, no, not the series they're making. I'm talking about like Prometheus and.
I didn't. You know what? I have to look at Prometheus and the other one differently, as part of the world, but not part of the.
Yeah, I
franchise.
agree.
Yeah,
I
if
agree.
they're
I
in the
agree.
world, I'm okay with it. I get
Yeah.
it, but as a part of the direct Alien 4, I think it was 5.
1, 2, 3, yeah, 4.
4.
Yeah.
I thought it was 5. Maybe it's 4. But
Aliens, Alien 3, Alien 4. Because Alien 3 is.
What about Resurrection? Is that 4?
Alien 4 Resurrection.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which
Because 3 is David Fincher.
3 was weird.
Yeah.
And 4 was
3 almost tanked that man's career.
yeah. And 4 was weird too. But we're not talking about those. The second one was, in my opinion, almost better than the first.
And it opens so good too,
Yeah.
right? Like with the horror scene and the nightmare and
yeah.
You know,
and it's the same as like the Dark Knight, actually, which is my other favorite. It opens the way it opens, just over the city. It's just
I actually forgot that Dark Knight was a sequel because when I think of that, like the Christian Bale, like Batman, Dark Knight's like the primary one that comes to my mind.
it's because it's the best.
It
one.
is the best. Yeah, you're right. I totally forgot that it was a sequel.
yeah, The Dark Knight Rises is good, but The Dark Knight is a perfect fucking movie.
Yeah.
And his trilogy, like no one will make a better Batman. I'm sorry. We can do Batman.
I don't know. I like the new guy, Patterson.
I'm not saying those aren't good, but I will. We're talking hairs here between the two, but I will give Nolan's Batman.
Yeah, I think Nolan's Batman's better.
I disagree a lot because I think the Dark Knight Batman, yes, but the Batman Begins
Oh, okay.
and the Dark Knight Rises were so meh in comparison to they were individually they were okay, but the second one was so good that they put those down that I don't know.
I liked the Dark Knight. I liked Batman Begins. I didn't
I'm
care.
Batman.
I didn't care about the Dark
I'm
Knight
Batman.
Rises so much for that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like there was just too many things about those two movies that I didn't like. Whereas the second one, I was on my tip of my toes the whole movie.
I remember having to pee so badly, and the
Not.
movie just like never ending. Like it feels like it has 5 endings.
Yeah,
And I was pregnant, and I had drank like a huge thing. And I was like, I gotta pee, and I just never went pee. Like I don't think I've ever had to pee that much my whole life. Kind of right now, actually. I kind of have to pee right now. Maybe I'll be right back.
Yeah, go do your thing. You can probably hear me from in the bathroom anyway. So I will. I respect the classic best sequels, right? E.T. 2. No, I'm kidding. But Empire Strikes Back,
Yeah,
T2,
for sure.
Back
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the Future 2.
yeah, 100%.
Right? Even Ocean's 12.
I don't know though. The first one's better.
The first one's way better, but I do love how rogue they went with 12. They were like, let's go to Europe. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is just a beautiful watch. I'll watch anything that Soderbergh does, but I really thought Ocean's 12 was the same dance and song,
yeah, it's a good movie.
but it wasn't. It is obviously a remake. Everybody was comparing it to, Frank and Dean
Yeah.
and Sammy and stuff like that. So when you did break, but like the rusty Catherine Zeta-Jones angle,
Yeah.
and then the rise of Andy Garcia's character coming back, and
Yeah.
like just
It was great, masterfully done.
yeah. But it's not nowhere near as impactful as the big ones. But my one of my personal favorites is Kill Bill 2.
That is a great movie.
And I love that it wasn't supposed to be a sequel. It was just one big movie that he
Yeah,
was
it
like,
was-
I have to cut
It's
it.
too long, yeah.
So
And it was still too long. It was still it could have been 3 probably.
probably could have been.
Yeah.
You could have had 3 hour and 40 minute movies instead of
Yeah.
2 4-hour movies. But I love it's Kill Bill is what I'm.
Yes.
Kill Bill 2. I mean, and like I said, I respect the big ones. I respect the ones that we'll chew through here on a list quickly and see if we're missing anything or anything shouldn't. We'll go what shouldn't be on this list.
Kill
because
Bill
it'll-
2 is a really good movie.
It's been a long time since I saw it. I forget a lot of it. It blurs
those
between
movies
the
are
two.
on rotation for me, but it's great for 2 reasons. One, it's that sequel that picks right up.
Yeah.
Right
where you left off.
Right where I love a good right where you left off sequel. Because you can do so much. You can be like 12 years later, right?
Yeah.
Or like in another dimension. You can do all those tropes. But to be like, nope, like John Wick 4 does that, right? It's just, let's not fuck around. Let's just get right back into it.
Right back into the killing, both of them.
But it's also like those are the perfect 2-part samurai movies, right? Like when you get into the old school Shogun samurai,
Yep.
it's such a campy revenge tale, and it's perfectly tied. It gives you more than you deserve. Like you just need to know
Yeah.
the other people she's killing, but you get the side meeting with the pimp.
Yes.
You
yeah.
get-
like all the background stories.
You get all the
and everything.
background stories of everybody. Like you get way more than you should get in that movie.
Yeah.
And I think because mechanically it was supposed to be one film, that's why that is such a great sequel to me.
I was so obsessed with those movies as a teenager.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
Shauna and me, our first movie together that I have ever fallen asleep in was Kill Bill 1. I was exhausted.
I
like
fall
I
asleep in
shouldn't have.
movies all the time.
I shouldn't have been in a dark room with a cozy chair. But no, Kill Bill 2 does everything, and that's more because of how they made it and less to do with how, because they didn't take a break, they just cut a movie in half. But I think maybe sometimes you should do that. Like if you really want, like maybe take your 4 hours or 6 hours that you could just straight director's cut and chop it into 2, because then the sequel's better because there's no break in the writing, there's no break in the creativity. It's all there in the can, and but that's just me.
I'm
So.
such like
I just quickly Googled a list of movies that do the same thing that we're talking. So I'm like, there must be a few that I really like, and there's like none on this list.
Tarantino. I have such like mixed feelings, but man, yeah, good movies.
He's a great filmmaker because he's a fan of movies, but he's not a filmmaker for everybody.
Which is I feel like
You can love what he's made that-
Love his movies, but everything I know about him as a person makes me go, ugh.
Yeah, the fucking weird ones do live on the edge. And I mean, okay, like,
He just loves feet.
well, Martin had a pitch for Nicolas Cage for one of our pitch fest debate we did.
Yeah.
And he wanted to pitch Nick Cage on doing a Star Wars TV show directed by Quentin Tarantino.
Oh my goodness.
And then we were like, what alien feet would you have in a Quentin Tarantino directed Star Wars show?
Yeah.
Like, do you have Wookiee feet?
Yeah.
Does he only celebrate human feet in a Star Wars world?
Whatever it is, it's a barefoot thing. Like somebody's dirty bottom of their feet. He loves dirty feet.
All right, let's scroll through this list quickly and see. Obviously, Empire Strikes Back is top of the list. Mad Max Fury Road,
I loved
yay
it.
or nay?
I liked it.
I liked it.
really
Okay,
liked
but
it.
here's my thing. Fury Road does not feel like a sequel.
It doesn't. It just
Mad Max and Mad Max Fury Road have nothing to do with each other, as far as I can tell.
But they have the same character,
yeah, it is. It's
and it's later on in his journey.
yeah.
Like if in the world of Mad Max, I believe there's novels, and I believe there's comic books and graphic novels, and
Sure.
they've picked
If we
two
take-
stories from
If we take
different parts.
if we
of
take
the,
original Mad Max and we take Mad Max Fury Road and we've
like
watched them
Mel Gibson Mad
yeah,
Max.
and we watched them side by side, which we did.
Yeah, but we're not talking like.
We are also like on time, so you guys got to cut it short.
I'm just saying it's not. It doesn't feel like a sequel. So that's just all I'm saying.
We'll make this a yay or nay. So Blade Runner 2049, yay, nay, haven't seen.
I
we
don't.
started.
I don't like Blade Runner. I just. It's too boring.
Okay. Godfather Part 2, that's a yay across the board.
Batman Returns.
It's actually the best. Godfather Part 2 should have been Part 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Godfather Part 1 could have been like back when, because it's
a prequel.
Yeah, Batman Returns.
Yeah,
yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they did it right too, where they didn't like it opened on the bad guys, and it was darker. I felt.
Oh, Batman 2?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
This is the one I thought Dan was going to pick.
Terminator 2 Judgment
it's
Day.
masterfully done.
Yeah, I know. You're talking about it all the time. I can't believe it.
Bigger, better, bad guy.
You know what? That's exactly true. You want a bigger, better version of the original,
Yeah.
and T2 just punches you right out of the theater.
Yeah.
21 Jump Street,
It's fun. Yeah, I liked it.
22 Jump Street. Meh.
Magic Mike
still haven't
XXL.
seen the Magic Mike
Fuck the
ones
Magic
yet.
Mike.
Ocean's 12 was good.
Ocean's 12 is one
Yeah,
of my favorite
let's talk about
sequels. I truly do love it. What else do we have here? Dawn of the Dead. I believe is that the no, that is the Night of the Living Dead. Dawn of the Dead was the
Dawn of the
sequel
Dead
to
is-
Night of the Living
yeah.
Dead.
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead was good.
Which, like, I didn't know until very, very recently, like now, that was a thing. Like, I really, truly didn't know. Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me did nothing for... Never seen it?
Haven't seen it.
I'm a
no.
huge Twin Peaks nerd.
No, I never
It's
saw
fucking
Twin Peaks
horrible.
either.
It's... That we'll talk about one
I
day.
mean, I actually was thinking about rewatching Twin Peaks.
Captain America Winter Soldier, that is an awesome
That's a
fucking
good movie.
sequel.
Yeah.
I don't think. Again, we briefed on this earlier. I don't think Marvel movies should be in this.
That
sequel.
doesn't feel like a sequel
I-
because it's part of
well
it's part,
into
it's
a
like part,
franchise.
All right, let's
Well-
skip all the Marvel movies then, because
Bye,
you're
Marvel.
totally
You
right.
did skip one that I wanted to mention though.
The Incredibles 2.
Infinity War?
No, that was above that.
Logan?
Yeah, Logan was good.
That's
See,
still a franchise.
that's
I
a
feel like
franchise.
yeah, that's a franchise.
yeah,
You're just breaking
If
your
we're
own
go-
rule.
you're-
I
yeah,
know, but I just wanted to say I
Time.
liked it.
Dan, time.
The Incredibles 2 was excellent. Top Gun Maverick.
Top
Why
Gun
did
Maverick.
nobody say this?
Because I knew it was on this list.
Because I knew it was on this list
Yeah.
too.
Top Gun Maverick. Okay, just fun fact. I wrote in my journal. I swear to God, in my journal, I'm like, I'm going to see Top Gun Maverick. I can't understand how this is possibly not going to suck, but everyone is like losing their shit over it. So whatever. The next the next day I was like, well, fuck me. That was awesome.
It was it was, and I do want to say one caveat is that movie was made and it held on a shelf for 2 years. I think combining the nostalgia factor and how much fun that movie was, we owe a little bit to just holding out and the theater experience. I think that movie relies on the theater experience to be a perfect
It
sequel
was
more
so
than we
good.
want to give it credit for.
It was good in theater. Yeah.
But I think we all would have been like, that's a great sequel nonetheless, but it's global love for being one of the best.
Oh yeah, we saw it in the theater with the sides.
We did,
right?
yeah, the
And
big,
so when
like-
you're in the,
Oh,
when you're in the
yeah,
planes,
yeah.
it's like
I was mind boggled. I continue to be mind boggled.
Blade 2, yay, nay.
it was
Yeah,
alright.
yeah,
It was
yeah. Definitely a sequel.
Evil Dead 2,
Yeah.
yes, of course, of course. Matrix Reloaded.
That movie was
horrible.
terrible.
Yeah.
That was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Paddington 2. Well, according to Rotten Tomatoes, it's the best fucking movie ever.
What?
Never
I've
mind.
also been told that
What
Paddington
movie
2
was
is
it
the
on
best, but
where they're talking about how Paddington 2 is the best movie of all time? That's in
it's-
another
it's,
movie.
It's all over the place. Like,
Yeah.
It's in the
It's-
ether.
it's in
but
another movie.
It's
Wes Craven's New Nightmare. No.
No.
Piece of hot shit. Toy Story 3.
I don't
That's
know.
again
shouldn't
What's
be Toy
wrong
Story
with Toy
2.
Story 2? Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Before Sunset. Yes.
I don't know.
I don't know this one either.
The Richard Linklater three movie series where a couple meets in Europe, then they come back and meet again, and then they finally get married, and it's their life later on.
Oh.
Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and After Something, I think it is.
Breakfast,
Charles knows them.
dinner.
Thor Ragnarok.
Again.
not
great
allowed.
franchise, very
And again,
good,
that
though.
would be the third in the series.
Yeah.
Devil's Rejects.
I was going to say Devil's Rejects. This was
Follow
on my
up
list.
to House of a Thousand Corpses.
Super good.
Yeah, for sure.
Super good.
Rambo First Blood Part 2 definitely deserves to be a good
Yeah.
sequel.
Yeah.
I feel that we're halfway through this list, and we've also got another segment
Ooh,
to do.
Star
So
Trek.
you know what? Khan! Someone has to
Wrath
say
of
it.
Khan.
Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the
definitely.
first,
Absolutely.
it was only better than the first one because Star Trek: The Motion Picture was potentially one of the worst movies ever made.
Wrath of Khan was pretty good, actually. I really enjoyed
Needless
it.
to say, Variety made a really good list of some of the best
Yeah.
sequels ever. I don't think we can argue too much of
I'm
it.
curious to see what everybody thinks. Somebody like,
Voicemail.
yeah, give us a voicemail or send us or comment on the
Yeah.
something.
What Emily says.
Tell us what your favorite sequel is.
Yeah, because you can tell us, and then we can talk about you on the show, and then make you can feel like you're part of it. Because wouldn't that be fun?
I just did tell her. It's aliens.
No. This is where she talks, and you just acknowledge, right?
Yes,
that was
yes.
the agreement.
Yes.
Yeah. No. Anyways, okay. So second segment, controversial time. We've done this long enough that I think we can get into some fun, darker, odder topics.
I want to say that I intentionally did not read this in advance.
Ooh,
because-
great.
Yeah, I really want to react.
I
moment
read
to
one
these.
or two. I don't
Yeah.
really know much, and I'm only
I scrolled the list.
I have
Okay,
some in my
perfect.
head that I know that are like I don't. Yeah, that I would never imagine would be made right now.
now. Just for time, I feel the
There's
90s
lots
and
of these
the
I
early
haven't seen as well.
the 90s and the early 2000s will probably be
Others.
our jams. So let me
Yeah,
There's
just
lots
skip
of,
the
like
80s.
Indiana Jones, super racist.
Short Circuit, incredibly bad using
I didn't know-
Fisher Stevens.
I
as an
didn't
Yeah,
realize
brown
that.
Indian
face.
person.
I didn't
Yeah.
realize that until I read the
Yeah.
list.
16 Candles is super racist.
Soul Man.
yeah.
Where's the 90s? Bring us to
And
the
the crazy
90s.
part is like the
Here we go.
oh yeah, American Beauty.
90s movies that could not be made today, courtesy of Screen Rant. Thank you very much. Now, we didn't put this list together, so what we're going to do is we're going to run through it, and we're going to read what they think was bad. Probably it's going to line up with us because we're really cool people.
It's Kevin Spacey can't be made because Kevin Spacey's in it. We
But-
can't have movies with Kevin Spacey anymore.
Okay,
Yeah,
rightly
there's
so.
also
Okay.
Kevin Spacey seducing a
Teenager.
girl.
American
Yep.
Beauty, 1999. Listener, if you haven't seen it, there is basically a relationship between a high school girl and a very old Kevin Spacey, which is foreshadowing a lot of shit I guess that man was about to get in
Yup.
trouble for. Who knew that was coming? It's a really interesting movie. I'll say that. But you can't justify, like, this is a risk taker.
Yeah.
And obviously the story is, it doesn't play out. I don't know.
I watched it in '99 when it came out.
Yeah.
and I didn't have any of the issues that are.
I also didn't have the frame of
about-
mind then too either.
Yeah, I was younger and I was like, I thought it was a good movie, but looking back on it, I reckon a rewatch of this movie, I'd be like,
You know,
I don't know, man.
So this is maybe surprising. I think is I actually don't mind when movies or books or whatever tackle this kind of thing, because it happens in real life. And I think the conversation around older men, or not, I guess older men, but older people grooming and sexually, interfering with younger, especially younger women. Well, not especially, but yeah, older men, younger women, obviously, is the one
Yeah,
that
I know
comes to my
you-
head. But
yeah, yeah.
in general, I think it's
An age gap.
I think. Well, to be clear, this is not what I mean. I'm not looking at you, Dan. I mean like teenagers, but I do think that it's important.
Inappropriate age gap.
I think it's important to recognize, and I don't think it's the worst thing to talk about in movies and books. And I actually just read a book called My Dark Vanessa that's similar, and it was difficult to read, but it's but I think it's got some value in exposing.
I'll co-sign that.
things.
I will. The reason I think you couldn't do it now is because the global perspective is different.
Yeah.
And the things that have rocked cultures and pop culture and things, they've always been really dark. This isn't necessarily. This is from the perspective of a creepy old man who doesn't have his shit in order. Like, it's not glorification.
Yeah.
Which is why I can co-sign it. But at the same time, I go, we couldn't make it today because it would immediately put everybody's hair up and go, well, that's happening, right? Like, it's. I think it would be too close to home
That's
now.
why I'm going to say I think you could make it today.
Yeah?
Because it's an important conversation, and more people are aware of this now than they used to be. And it's
True.
Not,
Okay. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
So it's not as secretive as it used to be, and so
Yep.
it would still cause problems. It would still get people's backs up, but I don't think it would be stopped from being made. And I think it's an important conversation to have, not to glorify, but identifying these.
I think this
types of people.
one, the American Beauty, made it feel like I think it made it feel like a lot of middle-aged plump men go into their garage, smoke a joint, are going to get a high school cheerleader. I think that's what I kind of came away from that movie in my head, and I'm like, that's not the message that
No.
we need to be
No.
sending.
The message is he's so vain. First of all, he's
Yeah.
so broken. He's looking for love in all the wrong places. Like, all the messages that come from that scene and all the metaphor and allegory and whatever you
Yeah.
want to talk about in writing terms are there when you look at it.
Right, but what if I'm not looking at it like that? What if I'm just Joe Blow, not really paying attention? I'm like,
Well,
I'm
you
afraid of the
can't-
porn out there doing that damage.
You can't-
This movie, but I get your point.
It is a good movie.
You
And that's
can't-
the thing.
yeah,
Like, I enjoyed watching it, and I've seen it more than once.
You
but-
can't, and you also can't make film or art for the lowest common denominator. Like, there's always going to be people who are going to misinterpret your
Yeah,
art.
for
and,
sure.
But it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be clean. And that's like messy, dirty, gritty, and terrible. But that gets people, it hits people right at home. I don't know.
Exactly. And you know what? Walking away from that movie, I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. How do I have a better relationship with my wife? Like,
Right, yeah.
I think the majority versus the lowest common denominator
Yeah.
goes, oh man, I don't want to be a middle life fat dude obsessed with my six pack with some dude who's making a film about a bag. Like, I don't, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And it's
yeah.
not glorifying. And then her problems with Peter Gallagher and like, it's just it's a broken life in a perfect home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting at. We're not getting at that this is something you should do. Nobody should ever do what Kevin Spacey does. Fuck Kevin Spacey.
Ever.
Second, Basic Instinct.
I don't know why it's on the list.
I think it's
I
on the
don't know why
list
you-
because of what was done to Sharon Stone. Let's see here. Forget Not Being Made Today, Basic Instinct almost couldn't be made back in the 90s. A depiction of sex and violence made for a lightning rod of controversy, with gay rights groups accusing the film of propagating negative stereotypes about LGBTQ characters, such as Sharon Stone's manipulative and possible murderous bisexual author Catherine Trammell. Okay. I mean, she did
Okay,
have
so-
that aspect of the relationship,
because
and they made
she
her like a
was-
crazy person.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm sure some gay or bi people are crazy. So
And that's not an inherent trait of.
no, it's not.
But I mean, when you
I
get
don't see a reason. I don't remember
the
anything bad about this movie.
stereotype versus the character's story is
Yeah.
the problem. And if it's stereotyped and not part of the arc, then you can. I think you
I
could
don't
get your-
remember enough about this movie to remember.
I
It
vaguely
was-
remember that she was involved with a woman.
And there may have been that there just wasn't a very significant depiction of same-sex relationships in movies,
Good
and
point.
that when they did finally depict a same-sex relationship, it was like with a crazy person. So I can see
picked a
that.
bad
The
one.
first time you're
Which-
on screen,
Yeah.
you're
Which
a crazy
I
person.
think, which I think is again an argument for why this could be made now, because
I think this could be
now
made
you
now.
have a lot more Like,
You
this,
do- you-
this feels talented Mr. Ripley-ish to me, right? Like that's another depiction of a bisexual crazy person.
Very much so.
And so, but that was a fucking good movie, and it's not. I don't know. I personally
Wasn't this a good movie?
Yeah, I personally
I think
don't
Basic
think
Instinct was a great crime thriller. I
Yeah.
just now
Yeah.
knowing that they filmed her without her permission
that's fucked.
makes me
Yeah.
feel like a bag of dicks. I'm like, I don't need to see this scene because
Yeah.
it's like the most that and the Pam and Tommy sex tape. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about the most slowed down moments in VCR history. So
yeah, it's you gotta. And
like
that's,
that's
which is,
why I don't
which
think
is really bad.
because if as soon as you touch on it, she's been so open about it.
Yeah.
So that might be why you couldn't. But like I mean, story wise, you can definitely
Yeah, you could remake the story.
you could.
Probably couldn't use Sharon Stone anymore.
Use consent, please.
Uh,
Blank check. I used to love this movie.
Blank check. Okay, blank check's plot description sounds like a typical children's film. A precocious kid gets his hands on a blank check. Yada, yada, yada. He sort of romances a bank teller played by 31-year-old Karen Duffy. Near the end of the film, they even share a kiss. In recent years, the film and particularly the inappropriate kiss have become much discussed online.
Oh, I guess so. But also, then when you go and you look back at like the Sandlot, right, where the kid like
Right?
pretends to die so that the
He gets a kiss
so
to
he
wait.
gets a
Yeah.
kiss from the lifeguard. And,
Yeah.
like, it's just this is just like little boys and nonsense. Like it's a movie. It's meant to be silly.
They wouldn't. Okay, first of all, this kid's mom would have been on set, right? Like stuff like
No,
this
I don't-
doesn't get past the sniff test
They
without.
could make this today, no problem.
Yeah, I don't think that. And I mean,
I
every
think
11-year-old boy wants
This is-
that.
this
Like,
is
it's
a
not out of
sweet movie.
bounds.
This is a
Yeah.
sweet movie. I think it's cute.
It is.
It's not like every young boy doesn't want to be kissed.
Oh, here's one we shouldn't remake. Bulworth, 1998. This one I did check into. So what's bad about it is the misappropriation.
Yeah.
And he drops the N-bomb way too much in this movie. And
Ay,
even
ay,
though
ay.
they're trying to put the point across about making fun of a politician trying to appeal to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lowest common denominator happens to be black people, which is very offensive. This is a piece of shit. And like making Halle Berry sing and dance next to him, who directed it, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do remember. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember enjoying it when it came out. But again, of the time.
Well, of
I think,
the
like,
time of stupid dick and
yeah,
fart joke
yeah, it
comedies
was-
that were a dime a dozen back
the
then,
90s was a
right?
very strange place.
But this is also after like Bugsy. Like you have an Academy nominated
baby.
actor
Yeah.
who's been around Hollywood, who's like
money,
you know,
money, money.
I know, but,
I
like-
think the idea was to go over the top and be satirical.
it was.
And so maybe I don't know, maybe they hit it, maybe they didn't. And I'm this list is actually surprising to me because I'm the last person in the world to be like, oh, blah blah, like political correctness. Like I'm all about making sure that you're not offensive and stuff like this. But this is art, this is movies, this is satire, and it's meant to be that way.
It is like it is in the film to not defend the actions, but like you could have done all of the things and held back the N bomb.
They
Yes.
could
Like
have done
that-
it better.
Without the N word.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing.
I-
Of him walking in trying to be all hip and cool
It was obviously
and
done
idiotic.
for shock factor.
It was,
at the
Yeah.
time,
totally.
and it worked.
And we're still talking about it today, so there you go.
I agree.
So mission accomplished, Mr. Bulworth.
Well, and I mean, they did it with. Didn't they do it with Will Ferrell when he goes to prison and he gets all like, like gangstered out? Doesn't Kevin Hart what's that movie where Will Ferrell goes? Is this a figment of my
I
imagination?
think I didn't see the movie. I know the movie you're talking about, but I didn't see
But
it.
it's very similar to Bulworth, where like you're whatever. Anyways, disclosure. I jerked off to this movie so much. I don't understand why you couldn't get away with it today. There was some incredibly
Sexual harassment, right?
Well,
Like,
yeah.
but again, it's showing it's exposing a trope, like something that a poorly kept secret,
I can't think of a
right?
way
Of an
you wouldn't be able to
executive
make
and
it.
of
It-
executive
well,
and
Being about sexual assault in the
boss.
workplace. I mean,
Yeah,
that.
but it's a thing.
Yeah.
So like you can make movies about it. just
Well,
because it's not a nice thing.
Okay, what do they say here? They say Michael Douglas stars as a mid-level executive in a company. His new boss, played by Demi Moore, assaults him on the first night of the company. Could you resist Michael Douglas? No, I couldn't. Because Michael Douglas' popularity in erotic thrillers, another aspect of the stream's exploitation thriller.
yeah,
would
it's
definitely
just
not
it's
fly
just
in
the it's like a boss.
It's just saying it wouldn't fly in the Me Too era, but I think it would fly in the Me Too era
Because
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 it's exposing a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
and you know what? Like the conversation of yes, statistically it sucks, but statistically women are more harassed than men. But
for sure.
the odd time men are harassed, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I
what
think-
this was the
I think
first.
also it was probably easier to make the movie this way around than it was to have
yeah, let's push back.
Yeah, because it is so common. Like the guys that had to greenlight the movie were probably doing that to their assistants anyway.
Yeah, you know,
I want to be on screen.
I'm gonna go out and say on a limb here and say I think that this list missed the mark.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think this list played it safe.
I think they're kind of pandering, and they're not actually talking about making movies. They're talking about what's acceptable in society, and then those two things are very different things. Like and these movies that they're talking about weren't in any way like trying to make this. What's the word I'm looking for? Where it's like when you're trying to make something. Like celebrating, that's not the word, but they're not celebrating sexual harassment. They're not celebrating. It's not the
bit.
No, it's commentary. It's social commentary,
Yeah.
and this commentary, sadly, is just as relevant today as it was in 1994. So, if anything, I think that these movies should be made now, can be made now, and can continue to, because the problems that these are exposing are still very much problems that we have right now. So,
yeah, no, you're totally.
I think this
nail head.
I think this list has missed the mark.
Fuck you, list.
Yeah. Get out of here, Screen Crush.
Entrapment.
This one's just about the age difference, though, right?
It is. That's all it is.
Like,
yeah.
And I mean, like that's how I saw that at the Met Gala last night. Like, don't fucking like. This is not something that irks people.
Yeah. Well, also too, like if you remade it, you'd have different actors, and you're not going to cast a 69-year-old. You're not going to cast them by their age. They're going to cast them by their.
There's so
charisma.
many, so many movies, or so many movies where the age gaps are inappropriate.
Forrest Gump is because of the self-described slow factor, who, no fault of his own intention of his own, plays an outsized role in the 20th century American history. Tom Hanks won an Oscar for his performance in Forrest Gump.
I feel like, you know what, these kind of movies, like these things are continuing to be made, and there's even shows and movies that are continuing to be made like this. I think that what would happen today is the conversation around using actors and actresses.
Hang on here.
What's the reason?
The reason, though, that's
is that he's playing someone.
No, it's not Forrest. That's the interesting thing.
Oh.
I just stopped reading because you started talking. It's okay. In addition, the way the film treats Forrest's true love, Jenny, who is punished for her life of free love in the 1960s with addiction, AIDS, and death, seems like it would be a hot take into oblivion if it appeared in a 2020s movie. I don't think so.
I don't think so
Yeah,
either.
no, that's ridiculous.
That's of the fucking times. AIDS was around.
Yeah.
She died of AIDS because of her partying, but it didn't treat her. It didn't treat her like a.
Can I not watch Rent now? Like can I not watch anything that's
No more Moulin Rouge for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like anything that deals with like the AIDS epidemic or tuberculosis.
Yeah, I mean, you can
that's nonsense.
be left, but this
is
hard.
the story of
What's next?
But
what I was going to say is I think now what we're seeing is a lot more opportunities for actors and actresses who are either like transgendered actors playing transgender roles, and also just like actors and actresses with developmental disorders or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the
I know what you're saying.
Playing those roles, right? So if you have a Down syndrome character, you have a Down syndrome actor playing them, as opposed to you have a.
Well, you try. Like
if you have a character with Down syndrome, you have an actor with Down syndrome.
If you have the tools at your disposal, to cast a person who has the experience, who's comfortable being on camera and wants to tell this story, then you have a responsibility to go to that person first.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's happening more often now.
It definitely is happening more often. But I'm from the new school and the old school, and I also go, well, they have to have some skill, though.
Yeah, they have to be able to do the job.
Right?
They have to be able to do it.
So when Champions came to town and found Down syndrome actors, they've nailed it out of the park, right? Because it's like, okay, this is what the movie's about.
Yeah.
But if at the same time, if you don't have them, you also have to treat that role with such care. Yeah. Because it can't be a joke. It's got to be a performance.
There's a fine line.
There's a fine line. And there's one of those is on here. But Super Mario Brothers is next, actually.
And it was remade.
It was remade. Doesn't have any shocking sexual content or questionable depictions of racial issues, unless Koopas count. It could never be made today for a different reason. Even in a recently released extended cut, the film bears almost no resemblance to the Nintendo game.
All right, boo. Next. They did it.
Yeah, I know. But like,
so they're talking about you can't remake like a shot-for-shot version of this. Why would you want to?
Yeah, it was an expensive mess. So if the film was not a hit, released into the world where the internet was in its infancy, it barely made a blip on the pop culture radar.
It was made for a bet, too.
So you're saying you can't remake this because it was made shitty the first time? Well, obviously this is an older article. Second, because it doesn't even have a link to Mario, so they've written this before that. But yeah, I know you couldn't remake it today because it didn't have anything to do with the fucking game. Like,
you could remake it
and make it
or remake it and make it bad, which is what happened.
Seriously, The Blind Side, 2009.
What?
This one leads to the idea of, I believe,
this is the white savior thing. Probably.
It is the white savior thing. It said the list of critics whose scenes included the real Michael Oher, who wrote in his autobiography, I felt like it portrayed me as dumb instead of a kid who never had consistent academic instruction and ended up thriving. I could not figure out why the director chose to show me as someone who had been taught the game of show me as someone who had to be taught the game of football. It's that plus also complains the Verge about the film, claiming it the true story about a former NFL fan twisted into a white savior narrative.
Yeah, the
white savior narrative and making him look.
That was Sandra Bullock, right?
Yeah.
You don't need Sandra Bullock to show a 17-foot, 3,000-pound black man how to play a linebacker. Like he's been doing it.
But the problem is that's the
story.
The
but
story
they didn't
is
do a good job of it. They oversold the this is a white people feel good movie.
Yeah, but that's what he's saying. Like he'd been studying. He had been studying football since he was 13.
Yeah.
He knew the game, and in the movie, she's
Here's
showing
a playbook.
She's showing him how to do a linebacker with ketchup bottles.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah,
that's what. But you could remake the movie.
You
Just
could.
make it
you
right.
Could remake the movie and make the actual
You turn
story.
that the other way,
Yeah.
where you compliment him and you don't make him look like he needs to be saved. You make him look like he has command of his presence.
And he needed help from.
She tutors him. She doesn't throw the ball.
Yeah.
No, I've heard that about that. I mean, and
there's lots of when mainstream started getting into these kind of movies where even like Remember the Titans and stuff like that too, like there's a lot of white savior nonsense. Bridget Jones' Diary is one of my favorite books ever written. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that right now.
In 2001, audiences responded to Bridget Jones' Diary next on the list as a lighthearted romantic comedy. It grossed more than $280 million. That's fucking huge.
This is a great book, listeners. If you haven't read this book, it's hilarious, and it is as hilarious as ever. Very, very funny.
Apparently, they're horrible to her throughout the movie, though.
2 decades later, it's shocking to see the degree of sexism and outright harassment, not to mention the sheer number of jokes about the lead character's weight and clothes endured by Bridget. She is obsessed about
her weight in the books, too.
Okay.
But is she obsessed with the weight, or are they making fun of her?
No, in the book, she's obsessed with her weight. So that comes across.
But there are jokes from other people in her life.
I've never seen the movie.
It's a very fun
movie.
The
movie's fine, but the book is hilarious. And honestly, she's a mess. She's a product of the 90s in the UK. I think the movie does a pretty good job of portraying it, and the movie is significantly less offensive than the book is. But it's
hilarious that if that's the case. Like,
could they remake it?
Here's what we're talking about today. We're talking about how the 90s caused body issues.
Yep.
Yeah.
How the 90s over-sexualized all of us. The 90s did a lot of interesting things in film, but it also pointed to a lot of weight and critique and all these things.
If you made it through the 90s with Kate Moss saying nothing tastes as good as skinny feels, and you didn't end up having like significant body image issues, then like high fives to you. But like the rest of us,
we're not the demographic. Put your fucking hand down.
The rest of us still have nightmares of like super low rise jeans.
Yeah, and Christina Aguilera making it dirty.
Yeah, and like Jessica Simpson being told that she was too fat by like every photographer that she ever talked to. So like I get where they're coming from with this.
But if you made this now.
You would make it different.
If you revisited Bridget Jones's Diary now and you included the last 20 years of her aging into who she wants to be as a person, and you included social media as one of the detractors of how her personality and how she was affected, this movie would be so fucking relevant today.
Well, you could that's the thing though. Like it's of the time. If it's set in the 90s in England, everybody was fucking horrible to each other, and it's real
speaking
life.
Of,
like
it's real life, yeah.
Like it's true. Like it's not like they're just being horrible for horrible sake.
And yes, they do poke fun at her, but it's not poking fun at her for us to laugh at. It's poking fun at her because that's how she wrote the.
That's how she wrote, and that's how she felt. But also, if you in the books, she does she finally gets to her like goal weight, and what actually ends up happening is everyone's like, you look terrible, like you look sick, you look awful, you look whatever, and so she does like all of it comes around. It just doesn't come out in the movie. I think you could remake it and it would be hilarious.
We got time for one more, so it's between I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. Okay, we can do Garden State, So Garden State, Chuck and Larry, or
Norbit. Oh
Norbit.
my god.
Shallow Hal.
Shallow Hal.
Okay, Shallow.
Shallow Hal. I think Shallow Hal was hilarious.
You guys want to do
I-
Shallow Hal?
They're. Well,
I agree.
Both of them.
You know what? Once again, I'm gonna say I think that this is missing the mark because I thought Shallow Hal did a really good job of
The story.
The
Like,
point.
yeah.
The
The
Wait,
point
the
is,
point-
is he's a fucking dick.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then
And
when
he doesn't understand that he's just as unattractive as what he doesn't
and when,
want in somebody. Like,
and he goes through a journey in the movie, and he
And-
becomes less shallow.
like it does kind of suck the idea of that like you have to not see people like you have to not see people's physical I guess attributes to understand their personality. That's not great, but at the end of the day the end result is that like people are beautiful from what's on the inside.
and it's a
Yeah.
it's a comedy
it's
though.
funny,
It's a
yeah.
comedy.
it pokes it. Like, I mean, yes. You know what? Okay, let's play devil's advocate here. Let's remake it. And instead of it being Shallow Hal, it's Shallow Her or Shallow Helen or whatever, right? And we flip it to the other side, so we have both perspectives in the film this time. We have two people who might be shallow, who have these issues, and then they run into each other. Like, you can do a lot with
That's
this.
your reboot right there.
That's your fucking
re-
reboot, right?
Requel.
Like, you can do a lot, but the thing is that if this offends you, there's nothing in that movie that really, truly cuts deep. What is shown is his perspective of what he doesn't see because he's over it, right? Like, isn't that? Am I forgetting the message?
I think so.
no,
yeah.
you're getting it right. I guess
I think this list sucks.
I did. Yeah,
Yeah, I
like,
agree.
The only thing that I can think of is that the character, what's her name's character there?
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwyneth Paltrow's character, when she's like ugly or whatever, she's not. She's just fat, and so I can see that being problematic because they're like it's the idea that there's something inherently
is
bad
wrong.
with being fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I certainly can see that from that perspective. Whereas like the hot girl who's like ugly, she's like, you know, all like hunched over and like scraggly, like kind of looks like a witch, right? And that's more, I think that's more kind of maybe the route they should have gone. And somehow I don't know, but I do see that like fat's not inherently bad. It's not inherently ugly.
But I think it was
a product of the time.
No, I think in this case it was we were doing Hal's perspective.
Oh,
and
he specifically didn't like fat people.
He didn't like fat chicks. And
That
so
was his problem, and that was
his
his
problem. So that's what I think that's the thing. And if it was a different
which
person,
is why it wasn't like the classic scene of her sitting down on the bench and the bench shifting, right? Like, but she's Gwyneth Paltrow. She's tiny and skinny and doing it, right? She's never, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, voicemail is great to do that. I don't think we're ever making fun of her when she's fat. We're the bit is that
I think we're making fun of him.
We're making fun of him.
Definitely making fun of him, yeah.
But fat is not. The fat idea is not treated as delicately as you should treat it, which is there's nothing wrong with being fat, but this is his perspective. He's against fat.
It's been a hot second since I've seen the movie.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
so
same. I might rewatch it.
But I think this list misses the mark. I think that they're talking about things that are not acceptable in society right now, which is what art should be exposing. And so I think this movie could and should be remade and continue to satirize and provide commentary on these things that happen.
I don't
to
want
us and
everything
around us.
fed to me to not have, like, I can choose. There's enough out there that we can all choose to watch something that makes us feel good.
We can pick to watch Unstable.
Yeah.
Or
right?
Yeah.
But I still want all of the questionable things that shock me and maybe offend me and maybe question
That's
things.
the thing. Like, I love Star Trek with my utopia future, and I love my horror movie Aliens. But also, like, I don't want everything to be fluffy and bright. Sometimes you need a sad movie,
art's meant to make you think, to expose some things that may be uncomfortable.
It's not all happy pants.
Not all pillow pants.
Better not be pillow pants. That's the pussy troll. If you haven't seen Clerks 2, you need to see you can also be a pillow pants too on Kevin Smith's fan club.
Nice.
I don't want to tell you where you get to spend $1,000 to do that. Anyways, listener, that's it. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode. If you are new to us, head to Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. The Reel Debaters Podcast on Facebook. Reel Debaters Pod on Instagram and Twitter. That's REEL for the spelling. hit the link in our bio. You can find everything that we all do. Emily does dodgeball. We totally forgot to talk about dodgeball.
That's okay.
All
Dodgeball
right.
season starts up again in September, so come check it out after that. I won't be playing any dodgeball because, for those of you who don't know, I am having a breast reduction surgery.
Oh.
What up? In 20 days. So if you want to go online and look at my boobs, now's your chance. Just kidding.
The pictures will still be there. Guys.
That's true. The pictures
Yeah,
will
yeah.
always be there.
Picture tells 1,000 boobs.
Those in glass houses shouldn't throw boobs.
There you go.
But we'll be back to regular dodgeball season in September. But it's in our link tree, or you can follow us on Instagram at Rainbow Thunder DC, Rainbow Thunder Dodgeball Club.
And before we go, we'd be remiss. Thank you for everybody who came out to trivia. We also forgot to talk about that because we wanted to get in the movies. But thank you to everybody who came out. That was super. We sold it out.
Sold out show, you guys. I think we've done 2 sold out shows now.
Yeah.
We've really been, everybody's been showing up in a big way, making us feel like superstars.
Yes, and for trivia too, which is like a thing that we don't do. Like we're just like, hey, let's try to show people that we exist. What's fun to do, movie trivia, okay? And we got all of your criticisms, we got all your compliments. We know what to cut, what to trim, where to shed some weight, which is usually me giving away too many hints.
We got to take the mic away from Mike when the questions are happening.
Yeah.
He just wants you to succeed, fans.
Yeah, no, thank you. And to Charles, who put together the whole package of everything.
Charles and his package.
Your package was amazing in 3 rounds.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, I bet you he wants this to be the package we're talking about. But thank you to Little Brown Jug and Cal for hosting us. We were very excited to come back and do more movie-related things. But specifically to everybody who paid to come out, you were awesome. Emily was the one who was working the crowd all night long, so she nailed it by making sure you all had scorecards, because I totally forgot to hand them out for the 3rd round.
And some excellent team names. There were some really good team names.
There was the Heathers But Gay.
Yeah, that was
great
really
team
good.
name.
There was we thought this was speed dating was my personal favorite.
We told them you guys could switch rounds, like switch tables if
Yeah.
you wanted to at the end of a
There's
round.
some really good ones. Marco and the people who showed up late.
Yeah, we're just here for the beer.
Yeah, there were some good ones.
Anyways, so yeah, that's another fucking show for you, listener. Subscribe, like us, follow us in your podcast player. That means the most. Subscription is free. We will never charge you for that. We'll never hide behind a paywall. So if you like us, subscribe to us. We're there every Thursday. I have been Michael Petrow.
And Emily Clark.
And Dan Bond.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Watch all the movies. Bye-bye.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies.